Okay, everybody, you've had a quick introduction to three types of journaling that I think can really support a creative life. And now it's time for you to practice them a little bit. So, as we get started on this video is going to be a little bit longer, a little more engaging. I'm going to ask you to participate a little bit. So, kind of set aside a little bit of time for this one. You'll also need to get some real actual paper and a real actual pen or two um, to write on. And I'd like to really encourage people to choose utensils, paper, pens that they really, really like. I keep right here at my desk, I keep all these pens in all these different colors next to me all the time because I like to journal in a very colorful way. I have multiple, I won't even pull them all out right now, but I have multiple notebooks laying around that are for different things. I have one specifically for morning pages, one specifically for writing for this class, and then one specifically for writing for my Substack. So I'm still quite analog in the journaling that I do. So take a second to go get that and then get your paper, get your pens, and then come back to this video. So let's talk about real quick the three methods. We're going to talk about morning pages, we're going to talk about the daily diary, and we're going to talk about prompt-based journaling, okay? And then you'll see a quick reminder there that all journaling is going to be handwritten this week, okay? I don't want to make this video super duper long by totally nerding out over the science, but there is science behind why we write with our hands and why we don't type when we journal. The connection and the activity of our brains working with our hand, working with a pen, working on real paper, all of that is something that science has proven it works differently on our brain. And it has a very positive effect on our ability to write creatively, write well, write prolifically, and it affects how we think too. So, without going into it into too much depth, just make sure you're following that rule where we're journaling on paper. Okay, enough. I've said it enough times. Let's get into it. All right, let's talk first about morning pages. Now, morning pages, like I gave you in the information in the overview, they come from a writer named Julia Cameron. She's very famous in creative circles. She wrote a book that's called The Artist Way, and it's something that's kind of an artist Bible to people who are even outside of the writing world. For example, there's a podcast I listen to. I listen to Dax Shepard's Armchair Expert quite a bit, and I know that every morning one of the things that he does as a part of his creative practice as a podcaster, which you would think is maybe a little different than being a writer, is he sits down and does morning pages. And so people across the board, business people will use them, doctors will use them. Morning pages is a really well-known thing. So here are kind of the bare rules for morning pages. And one thing with Julia Cameron is she doesn't want them to be a very hard and fast rule-ridden thing, but there are three basic guidelines. First of all, she wants you to aim for 3 handwritten pages. You decide the size. I should say it this way. She says 750 words. So she's talking about standard written pages on the type of paper that you would have in a binder, an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. I vary that. Sometimes right now, my morning pages notebook is smaller because I have time only for 3 smaller pages. I'm a mom. I'm pretty busy with teaching, so my morning pages are a little bit shorter. So, but it's 3 handwritten pages. You decide the size of the page. The type of writing you're doing is stream of consciousness. So when we write stream of consciousness, we just write. We keep writing no matter what's coming out of our pen, no matter what the words are. Even if it has to be, I don't know what to write, I don't know what to write, I don't know what to write, I don't know what to write. Because what Cameron tells us is that you can keep writing that same I don't know what to write over and over and over again, and eventually something else is going to come out. And you just needed to get beyond that I don't know what to write thinking, and you get beyond it by getting it out onto the page. So stream of consciousness writing, you just keep going. She likes to suggest doing them first thing in the morning. I don't know what time you're watching this video. So for the purposes of what we're doing here, they don't have to be done first thing in the morning. I like to do them first thing in the morning, but sometimes I need to do them in the middle of the afternoon because I need an afternoon brain clear out. So you choose what time of day you do this. I'd like you to try it right now, so I don't care what time of day it is. All right? Now, why they work. What do they help with? They help you clear your mental clutter. They help you get all of the garbage out of your brain, your grocery list, your to-do list, what your mom said to you last night, what your boyfriend said to you last night, what your boss needs you to do tomorrow, the project that's due this weekend, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It helps you clear all of that out of your brain so that you're not sitting there with this low hum of stress in the back of your mind. Another thing it helps you with is building a writing discipline. If you try to do this once a day, a couple times a week, it doesn't matter. But if you're doing it regularly, that's a writing discipline, and that's a practice that helps you become a more consistent writer. It gives you freedom to explore. You never know what's going to come out when you're doing your writing pages. The other day, I needed to work on this presentation, but I had a whole bunch of other stuff in my head that I just couldn't get past in order to get to this video. So I sat down, I hadn't done my writing pages yet, and I just started writing. And I started writing about something completely different, which is the fact that we are getting a new puppy, and there's a lot in my brain that goes around when it comes to getting a new puppy. So all of that was front and center, and I couldn't get to the work of doing this video. But what was funny about it was that by the time I was done writing those 3 pages, I was working on what I needed to work on for prepping for the video. So it was really interesting. I got there, but I had to get through all the puppy stuff first. So you have freedom to explore. You break through the mental clutter in order to get that freedom to finally get to what you want to get to. And I think that goes along with the last one on the list here too, overcoming blocks. If you're blocked, if you just have this idea that you just don't have any ideas, I don't have any ideas. Well, write that over and over and over again until you get beyond it. That's how stream of consciousness writing and morning pages can work for you. Now, I want you to try it. I want you to pause the video now and try out the morning pages technique. It doesn't matter what time of day it is. Like I said, these can be afternoon pages. They can be midnight pages. I just want you to give this stream of consciousness writing a try. Aim to write for at least 10 minutes. Remember that the only rule is that you handwrite the pages and keep writing the whole time. Pause the video, and I'll see you back in 10 minutes. Okay, welcome back. I hope that was an interesting and enlightening experience for you. As you're trying each of these journaling techniques today, I want you to kind of think and reflect a little bit on how you feel about them. You may find that you lean more towards one and away from the other 2. You may find that all 3 work great. It just depends. Everybody's different. Some people gravitate towards one and not the other. It just, or 2 of the 3 or whatever. I think you get it. So kind of think about, as you're doing each one, think about how you're responding to it and whether or not it seems like something that could work for you. Now let's talk about the daily diary. This is another method that I really like. This is from a book called Syllabus by Linda Berry. What I really like about this method is that it takes us out of our head and makes things concrete. It takes us into the world. So sometimes we can be too much in our head, and for people who get stuck there and they tend to ruminate too much and go in circles in their own thinking, sometimes a technique like the daily diary works a little bit better. And that's because it takes us outside into the world around us, into observation rather than rumination. So this one is a little bit more visual. And basically, you do just one page per day. And you divide your page into 4 quadrants. The way that it's suggested is that you draw a line down the middle and a line across the middle, and then you have 4 squares. And in one of the squares, you put 7 things you did, and then 7 things you saw, 1 thing you heard, and then a quick self-portrait. You do those 4 things each day in your daily diary. Now, why does it work? It builds routine and habit. You have a routine of observing the world around you, your immediate world. I would suggest making sure that your 7 things you saw are not TikToks, please. Don't make a list of 7 funny TikToks, okay? Don't do that. That's something that it's important. Let's make sure that these 7 things that you see, let's go back. The 7 things you do and the 7 things you see are not on your phone. Let's go out into the real world and get our things from there. So it develops this routine and habit of observation of the real world. It develops your observation skills. It helps you look up and see, or look up and listen. It helps you get out and do, or notice what you got out and did. It helps you with memory and reflection. So often our days fly by and we don't give them another thought, and we have an interaction in the grocery store, or a drive down our street where we see something interesting, or, for example, my neighbor and maybe a new dinosaur statue in their front yard because they have dinosaur statues. It's a thing they do. But sometimes those observations, they fly by us when we don't note them. So this helps you remember and reflect on those types of things. And it also gives you playful creativity. When was the last time that you drew a self-portrait? I think this idea of drawing a daily self-portrait when you're not a person who draws, I think it's incredibly interesting and could be really cool to see like what you come up with. Okay, so let's do this again. I want you to try this one. I want you to pause the video now and try out the daily diary technique. Take out a sheet of paper, divide it into 4 sections, label the sections. 7 things I did, 7 things I saw, 1 thing I heard, and then self-portrait. Go ahead, take about 10 minutes filling in each section, pause the video, and then join me back here. Okay, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the daily diary. Now let's talk about our final type of journaling. This is prompt-based journaling. This is the standard way of journaling that maybe you have experienced plenty of times over the course of your education, but it is the reason you've experienced it plenty of times is because it actually works. So let's talk about it a little bit. In prompt-based journaling, you respond to a question or an idea. You can do it for any amount of time. We'll just say 10 to 20 minutes. And we don't call this stream of consciousness, we call this free writing. So this isn't just every single thought you have in your head. There's a little bit of vetting here. There's a little bit of picking out what you're writing down. So it's going to be based on a question or a prompt. And these prompts spark reflection and curiosity about specific ideas. Now, why does prompt-based journaling work? How do prompts help you? They can jumpstart your creativity when you feel stuck. It just gives you something to think about. It helps you explore new perspectives. So often I find the way that a prompt is designed or worded makes me think in a different way. And so I'll have a new perspective even going into the prompt. It helps me focus my writing, helps you focus your writing when you have an idea to write toward. And it helps you grow your own self-awareness. A lot of prompts are introverted. They will help you look in at yourself a little bit. All right, so last one. I want you to try this prompt as well. I want you to pause the video. Again, take about 10 minutes. I want you to write this title at the top of a piece of paper. This title is What I Know So Far. That's going to be the title of whatever you wrote right below it, okay? What I know so far. After writing this title, take 10 minutes to write all the things you know so far in your life, at least today, in this time, in this moment. What are the things you know? Here's one thing I know. My dog is at my back door desperately trying to get outside, and he's having to wait until I finish this video. That is something I know. Another thing I know is that I really enjoy making videos for you guys, and I hope that you're connecting with this material, and I know that this is something that is really fun for me, so hopefully it's good on your end too. So take those 10 minutes, pause the video, and then come back. All right. I hope that was a great experience of trying those 3 different types of journaling. Here are some key takeaways. Journaling in any form helps you build good writing habits. It helps fuel your inspiration. It strengthens your ability to observe the world around you, which is what makes a good writer. And it supports your self-discovery. So each journaling method is different, but they're all going to help you connect with yourself in a different way. Okay, now going forward, your assignment for this week is going to be to try each of these methods maybe at least 2 more times. So all added up, I would say that's going to give you about 60 minutes more of journal writing somewhere over the course of the week. You'll see details in the module itself, due dates and whatnot. There are detailed instructions. You just go to the bottom of this page, click next, and it's going to take you to the assignment page where I've got some detailed instructions of how you're going to share your journals with me a little bit. As your writing assignment for this week, there's also a discussion this week. So remember to keep moving through the module page by page, viewing every page as if it were a book, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.